nature of the bicycle in Ireland illustrates the important role it has played for generations of Irish women and men. For Susan B. Anthony, the American activist who in the 1890s coined the name Freedom Machine, bicycles were a gateway to free, unrestricted womanhood. Self-powering a bicycle and travelling wherever one wished was both a symbolic and practical means of achieving female emancipation in Ireland. The modern bicycle began with the development of the pneumatic tyre by John Boyd Dunlop in 1888. Dunlop's son Johnny attended Blackrock College and demonstrated his father's invention for his schoolmates. Irish women gloried in rushing about on the improved tyres as lightly and noiselessly as butterflies in a flower garden. And in conjunction with the High Nelly, or safety bicycle, the cycling landscape was changed for both women and men. Up to that time, women cyclists generally took to the roads on the heavy, solid-wheel tricycle, while men favoured the penny farthing or ordinary bicycle. Pioneering women such as one Miss Hopkins could perform a feat remarkable even for a man on their tricycles, such as her reported ride up to the top of Killiney Hill around 1896. In the course of the 1890s, cycling transformed into a popular activity for women and many began to join cycling clubs. However, cycling for women raised questions about what was and wasn't acceptable. Even in more modern times, cycling is often viewed as a principally male activity, and in the Victorian era there were serious concerns regarding female cyclists. Riding a bicycle allowed women to challenge prevailing notions about the fairer sex and their perceived physical frailty, but also brought their virtue into question and put their reputation at risk. Restrictive dress codes, pedal positions that potentially exposed ankles and legs, stereotypes about women's limited athletic endurance, and expectations regarding behaviour outside of the domestic space often discouraged women from cycling activities, according to Brian Griffin in his book on cycling in Victorian Ireland. Cycling was mainly a middle-class activity, and this was reinforced by the high cost of bicycles and tricycles. But the new safety model meant an increase in sales, often by instalment plans. Certain professions became synonymous with bicycle ownership, especially policemen, teachers and nurses. Let us not forget local author Flann O'Brien's mischievous account of his molecular theory when applied to the local policeman and lady teacher in his book The Third Policeman. The latter's personality becomes half bicycle as the molecules of both interchange, with the hilarious outcome of part teacher, part bicycle and vice versa. Swapping bikes in this case would inevitably evoke outrage and disapproval. To quote O'Brien, "If bicycles have become more like women, then you would have bicycles wanting votes, and they would get seats on the county council." Cyclists in Dublin also face the hazards of bad roads with steep inclines. However, flat roadways attracted racers, or scorchers, such as the West Pier of Kingstown and Down George's Street in 1897. It was considered scandalous for females to scorch on their bicycles, and those few Irish women who wore bloomers were subjected to ridicule or assault. Bicycle spins or organised runs by clubs were very popular to favour destinations of scenic beauty such as seaside resorts. Elizabeth Priestley described the wonder of it all in 1895. "To glide along at one's sweet will, to feel the delight in rapid motion that is the result of our consciously exerted strength, to skim like a low-flying bird through the panorama of an ever-varying landscape, to know a newborn spirit of independence, to return from a country spin with a healthy appetite, a clearer brain, and an altogether happier sense of life." The bicycle was vital during the Irish cultural nationalist movement and was to be a crucial tool during the Irish Revolution. Female couriers utilised bicycles to carry dispatches and collect money for arms and prisoners. The Abbey Theatre actress Moira Nic Hjuvlig, who established a branch of Cumann na Mán at Glasthule where she lived, describes several such scenes where she used her bicycle to get to the Cant's house in Dolphin's Barn prior to the rising. I cycled down through Dolphin's Barn across the top of Cork Street, then into the South Circular Road. It should have been possible to get back to the green and join up with the volunteers. She also describes how her little sister Gypsy carried dispatches for Cathal Brugha during the fighting in 1916. Bicycles came to be seen as seditious by the British authorities, so much so that Republican activist Dr. Kathleen Lynn escaped capture by dressing like a lady and by walking instead of cycling. In the newly independent Ireland, the purchase of a bicycle was a significant event, as most people had walked in rural areas for generations. The price of bicycles dropped significantly, and bicycle shops sprang up around the country, offering bicycles for sale, often with patriotic names such as Treaty, Shamrock, Emerald and Celt. As it became increasingly possible for working class women to purchase machines, they now had the means to travel beyond the local community and increase the number of potential marriage partners. The emergency years in Ireland saw a revival in the use of bicycles as the scarcity of petrol and oil curtailed travel by car, bus and train. Thousands of people cycled long distances to, for example, football and hurling matches. As a reporter with the Carlow Nationalist wrote, "With the shortage of fuel, the bicycle was back to its own." In 1950, Dún Laoghaire hosted its first cycling week, organised by a local cycling club, the County Dublin Road Club. Cycling Week included male and female cyclists, and participants competed in time trials, racing and indoor roller competition. Other social events included the election of Miss Cycling Week, who took care of prize giving. The culmination of the week was the Dún Laoghaire Grand Prix. Many secondary children in Dublin cycled to school in the morning, home for lunch and back again for the afternoon. With few cars on the road, it was the heyday for young cyclists, saving on bus fares and leading to greater independence. The decrease in bicycle use matched the exponential rise in car ownership in Ireland from 60,000 cars in 1935 to 250,000 in 1960 and more than 2.5 million in 2016. Inevitably, this led to a dramatic reduction in the use of bicycles. They became the preserve of the child or student or those unable to afford a car. The numbers of children cycling to school fell rapidly also. People cycle because they enjoy it. They recognise the health benefits and they like the freedom of the open road. However, surveys have shown that women cyclists are less inclined to cycle for a variety of reasons, citing intimidating behaviour, aggressive drivers, a lack of safety and feelings of self-consciousness. In 2020, Dún Laoghaire-Rathdown responded to the call for an innovative and sustainable solution to keep homes and society operating safely during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Coastal Mobility Route was created in response. It was an award-winning, two-way segregated cycle lane extending nearly 5 kilometres in length from Newtown Avenue in Blackrock to Cold Quay Bridge and from Queen's Road to the 40-foot in Sandy Cove. Since its installation, it has proved incredibly popular and increasingly with women and children, leading to a variety of mobility interventions around the county. Thanks to segregated cycle lanes, all can enjoy the safety away from the dangers of traffic and a renewed confidence.